And our next speaker is on Zoom, so we'll just let our fantastic tech people get us set up. And our next speaker is Victor from Dalhousie, Victor Yi, and I believe he should be showing up soon on the screen. There we go. All right, so whenever you're ready. You're good to go? Victor, can you hear us? Or wave, maybe? Okay.
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, okay, now, yeah. Welcome. Please go ahead with your talk. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Good day, everyone, and welcome to my paper presentation. The title is Investigating Privacy Decision-Making Processes Among Nigerian Men and Women. I am Victor, a student at Dalhousie University, and I collaborated with Anaraki, Bart, and Rita in this paper. Okay, there's been a lot of research into privacy decision-making, but most of the research has focused and sampled mainly from wealthy countries. These are the Western, educated, industrialized, rich, and democratic countries. We tend to address this issue in this study by analyzing privacy decision-making processes in a non-wealthy country. Also, due to the very high gender digital divide in Nigeria, we investigated for possible gender differences in privacy decision-making. From previous works, we see that there are two basic theories of analyzing privacy decision-making: the privacy calculus and the trust heuristics. The privacy calculus states that individuals always rationally weigh the potential benefits and risk of data disclosure decisions, whereas the trust heuristics is that people make disclosure decisions using a mental shortcut based on the level of trust they have in an item. Our study utilizes the hybrid approach by combining the privacy calculus and trust heuristics to analyze the privacy decision-making of our participants. Also, we sampled from Africa's most populous country, Nigeria, and we also probed further and investigated gender differences in privacy decision-making. We apply the privacy calculus perspective to the Nigerian context and formulate our research question 1 in order to understand how Nigerians use their perception of benefits and costs to make disclosure decisions. Furthermore, we needed to understand if there are differences in the way men and women make privacy decisions due to the gender digital divide in these countries. We therefore investigated gender differences in the decision-making processes, which is our research question 2, that states that, do adult women differ from men in terms of how they make disclosure decisions? And do adult women disclose more personal information online than adult men? To achieve our goal, we designed, we deliver a web-based prototype application that can help users plan their investments and financial budgets by making useful recommendations. After logging in, participants were led to a screen that tells them how the app works. We then requested participants to provide a range of personal information in order to utilize the financial planning application. We asked questions such as their bank account balances, their annual income and debts, and participants had the option of disclosing the information asked, or they can choose the I prefer not to say option provided in the survey. After answering the disclosure questions, users were then taken to a survey that queries if the decision to disclose or withhold an information was due to the anticipated recommendation quality, passive sensitivity, or if it was influenced by their trust in the app. A total of 268 responses were received, out of which 232 complete responses were retained. These responses were selected based on the following inclusion criteria: that responses must be provided for all the questions, the participants were from Nigeria, and that they were at least 18 years. We had 118 men in our sample and 114 women in the sample. So because our data exhibited good construct validity and reliability, we conducted the path modeling using a PLS SEM to develop a structural model showing the relationships between the dependent variable, which is our information disclosure, and independent variables, which are the passive sensitivity, the anticipated recommendation quality, and the app trust. For each effect, we report the path coefficient and the statistical significance of the path coefficient. We framed our first two hypotheses based on the privacy calculus. The anticipated recommendation quality will be positively associated with information disclosure. Passive sensitivity will be negatively associated with information disclosure. This figure summarizes the effect of privacy calculus with path coefficients as obtained from the structural model. We find that the model revealed a significant positive relationship between the perceived recommendation quality and information disclosure. And then a negative relationship was found between the perceived sensitivity and information disclosure, but it was not significant. To test for the effect of app trust and the relationship it establishes, we hypothesized that app trust will be positively associated with information disclosure. App trust will be positively associated with anticipated recommendation quality, and app trust will be negatively associated with passive sensitivity. We find that trust did not directly have any significant impact on disclosure, but rather trust had a significant positive relationship with the anticipated recommendation quality. Trust also had a negative but significant relationship with sensitivity. In order to investigate for gender differences, we formulate the following hypothesis: that men and women will define their privacy decision-making processes, resulting in differences in the effects of anticipated recommendation quality, passive sensitivity on disclosure, app trust on disclosure, app trust on recommendation quality, app trust on sensitivity. To test for the effect of gender, two parallel models for men and women was established for the purpose of comparing path coefficient between these models using the multi-group comparison in smart PLS. We find that there is a significant difference in the way men and women use perceived recommendation quality to influence their disclosure decisions. We did not find a significant difference in the way men and women use perceived sensitivity to influence their disclosure decisions. We did not find any difference in the way men and women use their trust in the app to make disclosure decisions. We also did not find any significant difference in the way men and women use their trust in the app to influence their perception of quality of recommendation. We find a significant difference in the way men and women use their trust in the app to perceive sensitivity. We find that women use their trust in the app to determine how sensitive an information is, but then there was no significant effect for men. Here's a tabular representation depicting how Nigerian men and women differ in the privacy decision making. Here we see that there are significant differences in the way men and women use their perception of recommendation quality to make disclosure decisions with P less than 0.05. We also see that there's a significant difference between the way men and women use their trust in the app to influence their perception of sensitivity with P equals to 0.01. To address our hypothesis 7, we conducted an independent sample t-test to compare the disclosure rate for men and women. This hypothesis was not supported. We found that the mean score for men was higher than that of women, suggesting that men have higher disclosure rates compared to women. This difference was significant with P less than 0.01. For our insights, in comparing privacy calculus with trust heuristics in the Nigerian context, we find that a hybrid decision-making strategy incorporating privacy calculus and trust consideration is important when studying privacy disclosures. With trust not directly influencing disclosure decisions, we believe this may be due to previous experiences, as many Nigerian netizens, regardless of gender, have experienced cyber attacks and other forms of online security issues in the past. So we could say that the fear resulting from prior negative experiences could reduce their trust in online applications. Overall, Nigerian men and women define the way they use perceived benefit to make disclosure decisions and how they use trust to perceive sensitivity. Contrary to previous studies suggesting that men tend to be more technically knowledgeable, hence more privacy cautious, and should have a lower disclosure rate, our results indicate that Nigerian women have lower disclosure rates than men. This could be as a result that in most Nigerian communities, women live under the authority and care of others, such as their parents if they are unmarried and their spouses if they are married. So their behavior may be constantly scrutinized and may be questions upon any unfavorable event. As a result, they may make careful evaluations of the benefits of disclosing or withholding an information. Comparing our work with that of Anaraki et al., who sampled from the USA, we find that users from both Nigeria and USA use the privacy calculus and trust in making privacy decisions. For both countries, participants' trust in the app did not directly influence disclosures. These similarities may be attributed to processes such as globalization and Nigerian disclosure behavior was significantly influenced by perceived recommendation, unlike the US that was influenced by perceived sensitivity. Although this may have cultural implications, we want to believe that this behavior may be influenced by the standard of living differences between the two countries. For our implication.
Victor, we're kind of running out of time. If you could please wrap up.
Okay.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah. So to conclude, our research shows that unlike US participants, Nigerians can be convinced to share their personal information if they are aware of the benefits of doing so. Nigerian women are also more likely to reduce their perception of the sensitivity of personal information if they trust the other party. And we want to recommend that Nigerian policymakers should be careful in adopting US and European strategies and policies to promote privacy protective behaviors that emphasize disclosure risk, as this may not be very ideal and suitable for the country. Thank you.
All right, Tia, if you could come up and set up. And I'll just ask one quick question from Zulip while Tia's doing that. So Victor, the question actually is, I think, from this Tia, who's about to give her talk. She asks, she says, thank you for your talk. Can you describe more in detail how you measured the concept of app trust?
Sorry?
Can you describe in detail how you measured the concept of app trust when...
Okay, yes. Yeah. We actually adopted from Zima et al. And then Zima et al. Was used by Anaraki in their paper where they sampled from the US. So all our constructs were actually adopted from Anaraki et al. He also collaborated in the paper. So we only adopted it and made some modifications to suit the Nigerian context.
All right, thank you. Everyone just want to give Victor a hand one more time.